On opening night tonight, we feature the comer-upperers, although one is already filthy rich. Yes, the gorgeous Emma Fenton is here to promote her new telly drama, In a Flash. And the lovely Anya Banerjee talks to us about studying drama at the prestigious Columbia University in New York. My next guest you may not have heard of, but she has an academic CV to die for, is stunningly beautiful, and to top it all off, is obviously extremely talented. And I hate her already. Anya Banerjee, hello.
Hi, Louise.
She's
wonderful.
currently studying for a Masters of Fine Arts, but not here, at the prestigious Columbia University in New York. And you're home for a break right now. Mm-hmm. Now, why have I not heard of you before?
Well, I was a little intimidated when I saw the description of the show as New Zealand's theatre greats. I haven't really done that much theatre in New Zealand, which is probably why you haven't heard of me.
Which doesn't matter at all, because I want to speak to people from a wide background in terms of theatre, and you are achieving something that very few people get to do, and you've been accepted by a prestigious drama school.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible. But when you look at your CV, I mean, you've got a Bachelor's of Arts, and then you've got a Master's of Arts from Auckland, plus various other things. You were a tutor at Auckland University.
Yes.
And then you did the Actors Program, is that correct? So you've always wanted to be an actor?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been performing, but I hadn't decided to do it full-time until I joined the Actors Program. That sort of changed everything for me. Up until then, I was in English literature, and did my Masters in the reception of Shakespeare in India at Auckland University. But, you know, the more I learnt from my teachers about, you know, the beauty of these plays, the more I had to be honest with myself about the fact that I was tired of sitting on my butt just reading them and wanted to kind of inhabit them. So I was lucky enough to be accepted into the year-long program at TAP, and decided to give New York a go at the end of that one-year program.
Did you audition for a number of schools, or tell me the process?
Yes.
How did you decide who to audition for and what the process was?
It's funny, actually, I was in a bit of a crossroads, deciding whether I was going to continue with English literature onto the PhD stage. And I'd been researching a lot of programs in the States that had good PhDs, and actually Columbia was one of them. A lot of post-colonial academics that are like world-renowned teach there. And then I sort of had a little bit of a peek at the drama programs and found that there was quite a bit of overlap in terms of like the best master's thesis programs in the States. And then eventually, when I decided actually I'm going to do the acting thing, I sort of chose schools that offered that master's degree, because I figured, you know, if I'm going to go and spend all this money and all this time, then I want to be able to at least have a solid degree which I can then teach with, if that should ever be, you know, something I do in the future. So yeah, I chose a few schools. And
what were the other ones you chose?
So Rutgers in New Jersey,
yes,
Yale, Juilliard, NYU, and Columbia.
Wow.
Yeah. So I wasn't expecting to get into any of them. I just, you know, joined an agency at the end of the Actors Program, and I was like, you know, I'll go over there and this will be my practice round, and I won't get in, but maybe next year. And so I got called back for a few of them, but Columbia was the one that I got accepted in, and my mum was like, go, get out, we're kicking you out. You have to go to New York now. Yeah.
And how long is the degree, the Masters?
It's a 3-year Master of Fine Arts. Yeah.
Okay, that's absolutely brilliant. Tell me about the audition process. What did you have to do?
So around February, March was the first audition in New York City, and actually before that you had to submit an application where you write a couple of essays. One's a sort of personal one, and another one is sort of an essay on your artistic intentions. And so you do the paperwork, and then you go and you do a first round of auditions, and then there was a callback weekend. But for me, that paperwork, obviously coming from an academic background, was really cool, because it helped me figure out with myself, like, why am I doing this? Like, what actually makes me want to go into the storytelling business, and who do I think my art serves, and what kind of stories do I want to tell? And sometimes when I'm feeling exhausted or nervous, I'll go back and like read that letter to myself and be like, oh yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm in Trump's America. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
This is why I'm putting myself through this. But it's been so much fun, yeah.
So I'm sorry to hark on about the audition process, but you know, I've been through it myself a million years ago, and I think it was a hell of a lot easier to do possibly than what you've done. So did you have to do what, a Shakespeare piece and a modern piece, or right?
And a song, 16 bars of a song. So they recommend you have a couple of each, just in case they're like, oh, can you show us something else? So I had 2 Shakespeares up my sleeve, 2 contemporary monologues, and the first 16 bars of Gilbert and Sullivan song, which I later sort of changed halfway through the audition process.
So you had to be able to sing?
I mean, it's more about your ability to tell stories through song, you know, because it's not a musical theatre program, but I think singing sort of unleashes parts of you and parts of your emotional sort of spectrum that speaking sometimes doesn't quite get to. It can be quite revealing, singing, so I get why they do that.
It can be very revealing singing, especially if you're off key.
Yeah.
So how much of the course is performing and how much is academia?
Oh, it's all practical, which is my
it?
favourite thing about the course.
So you're not writing essays and...
No, that was just at the very beginning, just to
Okay.
see if your vibe sort of vibes with the rest of
And
the
if you were
faculty.
literate.
And yeah, I suppose
That
that,
would
helps.
help.
Yeah.
And so a typical day, tell me what that is.
So most days it's 9 to 5. We start with either a movement or a vocal warm-up, and last semester we had classes in Alexander, Linklater, contemporary American scene study. A lot of the movement work that we do is based in Feldenkrais, which I was totally new to. It's like a sort of body ahead of mind type physical practice, which actually has been really helpful for me in terms of
I have no idea what that is either. So.
I mean, it's similar to Alexander in that it's all about like releasing tension and
Okay.
finding ease and like economy of movement.
Yes.
But yeah, it was very new to me, and it's been very exciting to like get back into my body. Because I used to dance quite a bit before I went into academia, and it's been really cool to get back in that zone again.
So what about when you graduate? Will you be able to stay there, or will you have to come back? I mean, you've only got a student visa, I take it.
Well, I'm actually a dual citizen, which is
Oh,
one of
brilliant.
the biggest reasons I decided that, you know, I must make use of this wonderful opportunity, because not everybody has that.
Were you born in the States?
I was born in the States, but I grew up here. And it's
Okay.
really weird because I've never felt more Kiwi before in my life, you know, because I grew up here and my Indianness was always the thing that sort of set me apart. And now it's both of those things, and yeah, it's a real pleasure to be able to represent over there.
That is so brilliant. You're
Yeah.
very, very lucky. What advice will you give to somebody, maybe another Epsom Girls grammar girl, or a student who looks at you and thinks, wow, I want to do that? What advice would you give to a young wannabe actor?
I would say all of the things that you think make you imperfect or not equipped for this job are actually your biggest gift. And as long as you're willing to share that story with the world, just keep focused, read a lot, and keep practicing that muscle, because you will get there.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time in terms of your career?
It's really difficult to say, but hopefully creating my own work and participating in projects that people are passionate about.
Because it seems to me that your ambition is only partially acting, isn't it? It seems to me that you are very passionate about storytelling, maybe directing, maybe writing.
I've never done any directing before, and in terms of academic writing, I've done a bit of that, but playwriting this a new thing? One of the classes we did this semester under the tutelage of Anne Bogart was a course called Collaboration, where all the playwrights and the directors and the stage managers from the program got together and created original pieces. And that was really cool, sort of my first taste of having some input in that. I don't know, we'll see, maybe.
Well, it appears to me that you have absolutely everything going for you, so I wish you all the best of luck and look forward to speaking to you again.
Thanks so much, Louise. It was lovely to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Me, Arudali, I'd rather be a whore.
If you're heading off to London shortly, A, take me with you, and B, here are some hot shows on now in my favourite city. The gorgeous Kit Harington of Game of Thrones fame is starring in Sam Shepard's play True West, about two brothers pitted against each other as a family tears itself apart, and set in the searing heat of the Californian desert. An Ideal Husband, starring Susan Hampshire, and father and son Edward Fox and Freddie Fox are at the Vaudeville Theatre in this classic Oscar Wilde comedy. They've received rave reviews, but you'll have to be quick to catch them. Alfred Molina starts in the first UK revival of Red, about artist Mark Rothko and his young assistant. First opened on Broadway in 2009 and went on to win 6 Tony Awards, and Molina reprises his role, for which he received a Tony Award nomination for Best Actor. Nina Raines' critically acclaimed modern classic Consent is at the Harold Pinter Theatre. What is justice? What is vengeance? And what is right? Friends take opposing sides in a contentious legal case, and their own lives start to unravel. Emma Fenton is filthy rich, or she'd like to be, and that's why she is chancing her arm in La La Land to try and make the really big time. She is one of the lucky ones, in that she threw her hat in the ring for a green card and poof, like magic, her numbers came up. I worked with Emma in The Lion in Winter in 2012, and I knew then she was going places. And the place where she is today is right here. Welcome, Emma.
Hello.
Lovely to see you.
You too.
And you're back here to promote your latest TV film?
Yep.
Yeah, and tell me about that.
So this is In a Flash for Sunday Night Theatre for TV1.
Love Sunday Night Theatre.
I know, it's good. But this one's quite a tragic story. So this is based on the Elim Christian School that went to OPC, went down to the gorge with their camp leader, and there was a flash flood resulting in 6 of their deaths and the teacher.
I certainly remember that.
Yeah, it's awful.
And are you playing the team leader, the camp leader?
So I'm playing Jodie Sullivan,
okay.
Who led the team down into the gorge.
And did you meet Jodie?
No. She just chose to sort of step away from the film.
Okay.
I believe she knew what was going on, but just due to circumstances, and it's a really awful situation, so I can understand why.
Was it difficult playing her, though, when you hadn't met her?
Not really. I think what you do is, when you get a script, it's just like anything. It's a character. Because I didn't have the chance to meet her, you know, I developed my own character for this, which in a way is quite, you know, you feel a bit free. It is difficult because you want to play some truth, but you've just got to go with your own imagination.
And I understand that you had some really bad hair days during it.
I did. I was wearing a wig of dreadlocks, so that was very heavy, a lot of, you know, in the rapids, water.
But sewn into your own hair?
Sewn into my own hair, yeah. So it's not my real hair, but it was quite a experience. It was good.
Now, you went to Toi Whakaari.
Yes.
Did you always want to be an actor?
Yes.
Okay.
I did from a young age. I can remember doing speech and drama, and my teacher was fantastic, and she sort of led me into amateur plays, and that was where I sort of discovered that I'm going to be an actor. So straight out of school, 18 years old, went to drama school.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty young to go to drama school.
It is. But I do believe that some people need, you know, some life experience, but at the same time, I handled it.
Yeah.
It was fine. I did my degree and then got out into the real world, which is where I wanted to be, so.
And would you say that Filthy Rich was your big break?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So Yeah, I was a lead character for, I think we had 20 episodes in the first season.
That's huge exposure,
Huge.
isn't it?
Huge, yeah. And it was amazing. A great character. I got to do everything, you know, from a stripper to a murderer to,
Yeah.
I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
To be thrown off buildings. I loved it.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
How did you feel about having to get your kit off?
Not too bad. I mean, it's pretty scary. It's just intimidating just in front of a lot of people. But I still had, you know, a top on and
Yeah.
undies and whatnot. So I just had to get myself into the gym and feel the best that I could. And it was fine.
So we'll get on to LA, but is that required when you go to somewhere like LA and you're putting yourself up for movies? Do you have less of a chance of getting into something if you say, I don't want to do nude scenes?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think if you are auditioning for a role, they usually say in the brief, this role requires nudity.
Yes.
So you can make that decision before you even step in the audition room if you're going to, you know, be topless or just be in bra and undies.
Yeah.
And some, you know, when they say it's nude, sometimes you just need to work out with the director what actually that involves. Because
Yes.
I've had I had a role for Roman Empire on Netflix where they said it's a nude role, but that actually only required my back.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
And
good.
maybe partial butt, but that wasn't
Right.
even shown. So,
Okay. Just partial butt.
yeah, just partial butt.
So tell me about the green card process. That's amazing. Now, somebody told me, and I don't know whether this is correct, that in New Zealand you've got quite a good chance of getting one because every country gets the same allocation no matter the population. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
And how do you go about it?
You just enter online.
Really?
It's that simple. But
Wow.
well, I feel like it's simple now because I got it. But obviously, you apply online, you just put your headshot, like a passport photo, your name, and that's it basically.
Okay.
You get given a code. You have to check that, I think, the following year. So you have to log back on with that code that they gave you. You have to remember to do that. There's no
I hear
email
that.
saying you need to
So
check
did
it.
you go on and there it said, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I
And
bet
I
you
th-
screamed.
Well, I didn't really know what to. I was like, is this for real?
Yeah.
Like, have I just got the green card? And my agent is there emailing me going, yes, you've got the green card. You need to fill in all of these forms right now
Yes.
and hand it in tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'd been entering the green card lottery for about 7 years.
Oh, have you? Okay. And do you know other people who have got them?
This year I know 2 other people
Really?
from my agency, boyfriend and girlfriend. Lucky.
Oh, fantastic. From your
Yeah.
agent here in Auckland?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I say. I mean, you're the second or third person I know
Yeah.
who's got one. So it's not, you've probably got a better chance than winning lotto.
I think so, yeah. I mean, if 3 people, I mean, I know 2 people, so
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so does that mean that you can do work and live there for as long as you like now?
Yes.
Okay.
So for 10 years, then I have to renew it, but that's an easy process. It's just filling out a form. But I have to live, work in the States and be a permanent resident. So I've been over there for, I think, about 3 months now. I've just come back for the promotion of In a Flash.
And how do you find living there?
It's full on.
Yes.
Yeah, it is similar to New Zealand. It's just bigger. Everything is bigger, from the food portions to the cars to the houses. It's crazy.
But I mean, are you getting lots of auditions?
To be honest, so I went over and I didn't have an agent when I went over there. So that was my first step.
Yes.
Go over, get an agent. And I did that. So I'm very happy.
So you cold called?
Yeah, so when I went over, my agent here helped me set up meetings. Few people said no, few people said yes, and then I got to make the decision of who I wanted to be with.
Great.
Which is great, but I would not recommend going over there without some work behind you necessarily, because a lot of agents, even with my experience, they went, oh, you know, you're not who we're looking for, or we need a little bit more, you know, if you're getting to the top agencies over there, they expect a lot of work. So
It's a catch-22, isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, you know, how do you get a lot of work? Well, usually through an agent.
Exactly.
So it's just ridiculous.
Exactly. But I mean, everything's possible, you know.
Of course it is. Do you find it more competitive there? It sounds a silly question, but do you find it more competitive there than here, or do you think the industry as a whole is just hugely competitive?
I think the industry as a whole is competitive. Over there, it's a different... everyone's an actor. Everyone's in the industry. So they're all fighting for it, and they know how to...
Work it. Yeah.
Whether that's just out and about, they meet someone. Usually here in New Zealand, you'd see someone like a producer or a director. You go, oh, I know them, and you step away. If they see someone over there, they'll be right up in their grill.
My husband did a shoot for a commercial with Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
And he said that even the extras would try to get up to him and make themselves known and try to push themselves.
Big time, yeah.
It was unbelievable.
It's crazy, and I think that just comes through with us Kiwis. We're quite relaxed.
Yeah, but hold back a little bit.
Yeah.
The other thing I remember about, we went to the Standard in West Hollywood, and all the kids working there, it was all run by kids, they were all beautiful, all of them, drop dead, just as beautiful as anybody who is on screen at the moment. So, you know, what's the difference? Is it just luck? I mean, I think it's about sort of, here's me answering the question for you. I think it's sort of 70%, 60% luck and 40% talent half the time. Or is that not right?
I'm going to disagree. I feel that it's 10% luck and 90% 10% luck, 10% if you actually, or actually more than that, 10, 20, 30% if you actually fit that role. Because, you know, and then the rest I think is through training. And if you're actually good, because you can go up against a lot of people in this industry in America, they all call themselves actors, but they don't even know how to, they just read the lines.
Yeah.
And I think that they look for that special sort of spark. Can you actually connect with someone? Do you know this character? Are you this character? So I think training comes into it a lot. Good training, not just going to a few lessons and classes here and there.
So that was the question I was going to finish off with what advice would you give somebody who wants to do what you're doing?
I mean, my advice is, I think train. I really think train. Get to know the industry, go to plays, go to a lot of films, figure out what character you are so you can hone that skill, you know? Because there's so many different, you're a completely different character to what I am. I can't play what you are, and you can't play what I do. So I think just really hone in on that skill and just go for it. Yes, there's luck, but there's a lot of talent that's needed as well. So keep training.
So lovely to see you.
So lovely to see you.
Yeah, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
I'm very sorry about your mum.
Thanks.
I would like to help with funeral arrangements and costs.
It's already sorted.
When is it?
Excuse me?
The funeral. I'd like to be there.
But you couldn't stand her. And she hated you. So would that really be appropriate?
I just wanted to support you.
It's not going to be an actual funeral. And since most of the people on knew her, they don't give a shit. Or dead.
I know you need some time. But when you're ready, I would like you to come back to work.
I'm already back at work.
I heard that.
It might not look like much to you, but at least it's all mine.
You are worth more than this.
You think so?
I read your letter about Carl.
You want to blackmail me?
No. I destroyed it. I get what you're going through, but you can move on from
Is
this.
this where I get another touching story about your hard life as an apprentice hairdresser?
I know what it's like to feel bad.
No, you and me, Brady, we're not the same. At all.
Sorry you feel that way.
Oh, I do. But hey, you are more than welcome to stay for a drink if you want.
Well, just to finish off today, last weekend I had a family trip to Sydney, and as I usually do, I went to a play at the Ensemble Theatre at Kirribilli. I saw the most wonderful play called Marjorie Prime about mother-daughter relationships, artificial intelligence, ageing and grief. Sounds heavy, but it was beautifully acted, designed, lit, you name it. If you are heading across the ditch, I recommend you check out the Ensemble. I have never seen a dud there. It is crafted professional theatre of the highest standard. And that's all I've got this week. See you next time.